Okay, now we've got skills and we can see them in-game as cards, but how do we get them to look good? Here are some of the things we'll cover in the video. The visual components of a card can be broken into several layers. The base, the art, the text, and the highlight. Each layer is drawn on top of the previous one, so for example, the text is always on top of the art. The base is the part of the card that determines its dimensions, shape, and background. It's the bottommost layer upon which everything else is drawn over. The art is the illustration for that specific card. Every skill can have different card art, but all cards of a given skill will have the same card art. The text is the layer that will contain all of the text. The name of the card, the cost, the description, and a few other components are drawn here. Then finally, the highlight layer. This is a special layer that is only visible when a card is selectable for one reason or another. Now let's go over each one in more detail so we can see how to change them. If you've been following along with this tutorial series, you've probably noticed that all of our cards have this base image. So where did this image come from? Well, way back in part 1, we imported some images into our project. If we look at the CGC folder and navigate to bases, there's that image, default.png. By default, all cards will use the default.png file inside image/cgc/bases. If that image is missing, cards will only be 1 by 1 pixels big. But you can change that image to whatever you like. Here, I've replaced default.png with a more square shape. It gives the game a different feel. Now it's a circle. Feels very different. Whatever dimensions you use for the default image, Card Game Combat will use to calculate positional things, like spacing inside the card library. But default.png doesn't have to be the only card base we use. If you want a skill to have a different base, you can put this inside the skill note tag. As long as you have an image with a matching name inside the bases folder, that skill's card will use that base. If you're using the Card Types plugin, you can assign bases based on what type a card has. If a card has multiple types, it will use the first type to determine what base to use. The card base note tag will override the type's base. Card art doesn't use a default image. Instead, if art isn't specified, it'll scale up the skill icon. Card art, just like bases, can be set through a skill note tag. As long as you have an image with a matching name inside the art folder, that skill's card will use that art. Here I made a dragon I want to use for one of my cards, so I'll add the note tag card art dragon. The dragon is sort of stuck in the corner. Card art will always be drawn in the upper left corner, so if we're using small images, we can add some padding to them. There, nice and center. The text layer is a bit more complicated because there are a lot of different components. Those components include card name, card cost, card description, and card types if you're using them. Since cards are made from skills, the first 3 components come directly from the skills tab in the database. You can even use RPG Maker's string formatting tools to change things like text color. You can change where these components are drawn on the card using coordinates parameters in the core engine. You can also disable drawing of the card description entirely if you want the description to only show up in the help window. You may notice some font size parameters in the Core Engine plugin too. These values change the font sizes of the text components, but they're overridden in Text Format Plus, which gives you more control over text appearance. Text Format Plus has a few other parameters to let you change the text font, add word wrapping, and change text styles. Here are the parameter settings I've been using for this tutorial series. If you're using card types, there's an extra text component that'll show off what types a card has. With each type, you can set whether it's drawn on the card, and you can set the starting coordinates as well as how many types can be displayed in a single row, and the separation height between rows. Sometimes you'll want icons drawn on the card, whether that's in the description or if you're using a plugin that adds icons to the skill cost. Use the icon size parameter in the Core Engine to scale the size of the icons to match your text size. And use the type icon size in card types for the type icons. Icons may technically be images, but they're on the text layer. That should do it for the text layer. The highlight layer is a bit different. For one, it's much simpler. Remember back in part 1 when we set the highlight sprite and discard highlight sprite parameters? Well, if you like those images, that's it. That's all we have to worry about. The highlight sprite will appear whenever a card can be selected to be played. If you can't afford a card, it won't show up for that card. The discard highlight sprite will appear whenever you need to select a card in your hand, like for discard or removal. These sprites are drawn on top of the card, so you can use transparency or cover the edges of the card, or whatever you like. That covers just about everything. You should be able to use these tools to make your cards look however you want. For more in this series, check out Part 4, Card Actions. And if you like the sound of my voice, subscribe to hear more of it. If not, don't tell me. I'm very fragile. Thanks for watching.